Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's show. This is a special emergency Saturday edition, a special broadcast of today's show. I am your host, Matt Morris. Today, folks, we're going to be talking about what is currently going on in the streets of downtown Portland, Oregon. President Trump earlier this morning, just a couple hours ago, in fact, on Truth Social, made a special emergency announcement, a proclamation, if you will, saying that he's going to be deploying federal forces, could be ICE, DHS, more ICE agents, and also maybe even U.S. military troops, soldiers, to the streets of Portland, because Portland, as many of you know, is effectively the headquarters, the home base of Antifa. Portland is the number one Antifa-infested city in the nation. Antifa is now definitively, terminologically, categorically a domestic terrorist organization. And as it would seem, the Portland government, the Oregon state government, has been effectively aiding and abetting this terrorist organization. So Trump has decided that the kitty gloves are coming off. He's going all out. Now, in light of this news, Antifa has issued just about 45 minutes ago, hot off the press, Antifa has issued a proclamation of their own. They are calling for reinforcements. You've got Antifa members living up in Seattle, down in California, all over the country. They said, listen, we need every single Antifa member in the country to come flooding into the streets of Portland tomorrow, to make a big scene, to have a standoff with President Trump's forces of righteousness, is what I'll call them personally. And so we're going to break down this entire dynamic, folks. As a little bit of a recap, let me catch everybody up here, folks. Trump has vowed full force as he plans to send troops into Portland amid anti-ICE protests. Portland is a hellscape. You guys know, what's my hometown? Portland, Oregon. I went to Portland public schools. I went to university in Portland. I'm one of the very few conservative people to come out of Portland. I don't live there anymore, thank God. So I am on the edge of my seat. I am so happy to see that Trump is doing this. Save my city. President Trump has directed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to protect ICE facilities from these far-left radical domestic terrorist demonstrators. Antifa. President Trump announced Saturday morning, just a couple hours ago, Saturday morning, that he plans to send troops to Portland, Oregon, amid ongoing anti-ICE protests in the Blue City. I'm going to show you some video footage here today, folks. Listen, guys, I think a lot of you know, for the last couple of months, for the last 9 months, ever since President Trump stepped back into the White House, these Antifa far-left domestic terrorists, they've been causing a hellstorm in downtown Portland, namely outside the ICE facility. Every night, just about every night, I'm going to show you some footage. As President Trump posted earlier this morning on Truth Social, he said, at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, I am directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect the war-ravaged Portland and any of our ICE facilities under siege from Antifa and other domestic terrorists. Trump posted on Truth Social earlier today. He said, I am also authorizing full force if necessary. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Folks, what does full force mean? Yeah, I think we all know what that means. Here's my message to Antifa. Listen, you got to stop. You got to give it a rest. It's time to get your life back on track. Antifa, it's not too late. Maybe you can, correct your life path, get your life back on track here. Put the Antifa days behind you, because Antifa is not, they're not going to be winning. They're not going to win this situation going forward. Okay. It's time to get a grip. Okay. Protests have flared in the city since June, not just since June, for 9 months. I've been keeping track. And city officials put a land use violation notice on an ICE facility, the Portland city officials, who are radical progressives, by the way, to dispute how long detainees can be held there, as well as another violation of boarded up windows. The ICE facility in downtown Portland has its windows boarded up. I'm going to show you here in a minute. And the reason why is because Antifa freaks keep trying to shatter the windows and break the windows. And now they're getting a citation from the radically progressive Portland city officials saying, hey, you're not allowed to have boarded up windows. Well, then maybe you should do something about the literal terrorists in your city. No, you're not going to do that. Okay. Anti-ICE graffiti has been scrawled on the outside of the building, and the demonstrations have become violent at times between protesters and federal agents, prompting authorities to use rubber bullets, tear gas, and flashbangs to break up the crowd. Protesters in August were also caught on camera displaying a guillotine and clashing with police before law enforcement fired munitions to get the crowd to disperse. Little fun fact behind the scenes here. Portland City Police have been given a stand-down order by Governor Tina Kotek, by the facilitators, by the political elite of Portland City proper. Portland Police, hands off. They're not involved in this at all. They've been told to stand down. So all these clashes that you see between Antifa and law enforcement, it's actually ICE. These are federal ICE officers. Portland City Police has been ordered. They have been ordered to remain totally hands off. You see some of the graffiti here. Portland has been declared a sanctuary city since 2017, which means it largely does not comply with federal immigration enforcement activities. Likewise, we were talking about this stand-down order for Portland City Police. They've also been told to not comply or interact with ICE at all. So if you're a member of Portland City Police and you know this guy is an illegal alien, you're not allowed to turn him into ICE. Total stand down. Do not comply. Do not cooperate with the feds, with Trump's federal ICE agents. That's the order they've been given. Blue cities have become flashpoints amid Trump's immigration crackdown, including when troops were sent into Los Angeles. You remember that during those riots, during the anti-ICE riots in June. The audacity to call these things protests. This is from Fox News. Fox News, really? Protests? We all saw what happened. Okay, people were getting assaulted. Cop cars were getting blown up. All those little Waymo cars were getting blown up. You had these rioters, these freaks, a lot of whom were illegal aliens down in Los Angeles, throwing rocks at police officers trying to kill them. It was a protest, really. And then we have the clashes over in New Jersey. And so that's what's going on. Now, folks, let me introduce you to a character. This is Governor Tina Kotek. This is her right here. She is the Democrat governor of Oregon. She's not the mayor of Portland. She's the governor of the entire state. Now, a little bit of a history lesson on Tina Kotek. Tina Kotek is a far-left radical progressive. She is, incidentally, a lesbian woman. That's okay. That's fine. It has nothing to do with this. But going back to 2020, the year 2020, Tina Kotek has been on the record publicly been playing coverage for Antifa. She's got a 5-year history of playing coverage and defense for Antifa. In fact, in 2020, one of her own staffers was arrested for participating in a violent Antifa riot, who Tina Kotek then defended. She said she was proud of her staffer, and I quote, proud of her staffer for her role in the violent Antifa riot, while she then went on to condemn the Portland City Police and the ICE agents. She never has condemned Antifa. She said she's proud of her staffer for participating in riots like this. She also said, after Antifa, during that same summer, 2020, after Antifa destroyed, torched numerous buildings in downtown Portland, Tina Kotek said, well, marginalized lives matter more than buildings. So once again, hand-waving the violence and the carnage and the mayhem and the chaos caused by Antifa, blowing up cars, blowing up buildings, torching buildings. She said, well, what really does a building matter? Because marginalized lives are really what's important here. So she has publicly, God knows for how long, privately, publicly, she's been hand-waving and making excuses for Antifa. And of course, she's been governor for a couple years now. She has turned a blind eye to everything that has been going on in downtown Portland, all of these Antifa freaks. And to give you a little bit of an example of what exactly we're talking about here, I'm just going to play this video for you folks. This is what has been going on in downtown Portland for literally 9 months, like almost every night. Take a look.
Night after night, this is the scene just outside the ICE facility in Portland. Hundreds of residents live in apartments just feet away. They routinely call police about the noise and crime.
I'm calling about the protesters. They've cornered 2 women out here. They need help.
Yeah.
Please send the cops.
But the cops did not come. Residents on their own.
Turn that down! It's midnight! We the people need sleep!
This week, protesters brought what looked like a guillotine. Some confrontations end with residents.
Folks, they are putting a guillotine. You want to talk about domestic terrorism? These people, these Antifa far-left radical freaks, they wheeled out a literal guillotine. What do you think the implication here is? Do you think they brought the guillotine to be nice and friendly, or is the implication here, hey, we want to kill you. Hey, we're going to kill you. Hey, we're going to kill you and chop your head off. Yeah, that is the implication here. You want to talk about domestic terrorism? This is domestic terrorism, ladies and gentlemen.
End with residents getting assaulted. First a bullhorn, then a fist. No arrest was made despite the injuries. On this night in late June, federal police used tear gas and flashbangs. Again, no Portland police in sight. It came out later in court that one officer told another, if it were not ICE, we could assist directly.
What did the officer, he said, Portland City Police, she said, if it were not ICE, we could assist directly. So once again, we know for a fact, this is not my personal speculation, we know, Portland City Police has been given a stand-down order and a do not cooperate with order insofar as ICE goes. Do not cooperate with ICE. If ICE is involved, hands off. Doesn't matter what's going on. The narrator here on Fox News has said multiple times, no police in sight. You know why? It's because the police have been explicitly told to not show up, let it happen. Because it's ICE. Because ICE is involved.
Directly.
Mayhem.
Julie Parrish sued the city to force police to enforce local laws.
This is a full-on abdication of police duty in a 4-block radius that impacts some of the most vulnerable Oregonians that we have. Now they've said, meh, we're just going to let violent rioters do this for 80 straight nights, and we don't care.
Portland police responded, we take these concerns seriously. At the same time, we are committed to protecting individuals' rights to express themselves peacefully.
Peacefully. With a guillotine.
The Portland approach is pathetic. It's childish. And if you enable people to behave the way the protesters have and wreck the neighborhood for everyone else, they will come back and wreck it the next night.
The protest chaos, which began with riots aimed at social justice in 2020, has severely damaged Portland's reputation. It's now ranked by the nonpartisan Urban Land Institute as the second worst place in America to invest. With 6.5 million square feet of commercial vacancy, the top 20 office towers have lost 57% of their combined value in 5 years. Yeah.
It's because everybody with half a brain, no, that's too much. Everybody with 1/10 of a brain says, listen, does Portland seem like a good city to raise a family? No. Does Portland seem like a good city to retire in? No. Does Portland seem like a good city to build a small locally owned business? No. It's literally, I'm saying this, and I hate that I have to say this because like I said, this is my hometown. I am from Portland. I've had to watch it decay for my entire life. It's good for nothing. And everybody with half a brain is leaving. Now, we do have somebody that has less than half a brain. He is Oregonian Senator Democrat named Ron Wyden, who has been in the Senate for 35 or 40 years. He's one of those people. He, in response to President Trump's proclamation earlier this morning, I'm going into Portland, Ron Wyden had to get involved. He said this: I took this video just a few minutes ago outside of the ICE facility in Portland that Trump claims is under siege. My message to Donald Trump is this: we don't need you here. Stay the hell out of our city. And so he posted this video to prove the point that the ICE facility is not under siege. Take a look. I'm going to full screen this here. This is right outside. This is the front gate, front door of the ICE facility. And so he's saying, nothing's going on here, Trump. This is not under siege. Everything is fine, Mr. Trump. Well, listen, Ron Wyden, and he does a little panorama view. Listen, Senator Wyden, I can't help but notice that this entire building is boarded up with plywood. That's a little bit abnormal. I wonder why that is. Why are there red handprints and graffiti? It's graffiti and everything is boarded up with plywood. So, well, I'll tell you why. I'm on Google Maps now. Follow along, folks. This is right outside the ice facility. It's because on the ground level of the Portland City Ice Facility, these are all glass windows. Why do you think? Can anybody figure this out? Why might the Portland City Ice Facility take a bunch of plywood and board up all their windows? I wonder, maybe it has something to do with all of this. Maybe it has something to do with this, which has been happening literally every single night for 9 months. So I don't know, folks. This guy is a senator, okay? We've only got 100 of them. This guy is one of our 100 senators, and he's a total moron. In fact, he just destroyed his own argument by posting this video. What a total idiot. It's embarrassing. Now, that was the senator, one of the two senators of Oregon. Now we hear from Governor Tina Kotek herself, the Antifa apologist. We talked about that. She's been making excuses for Antifa and covering up their behavior for 5 years now. She chimed into this a couple hours ago. She talked to the media in response to Trump's proclamation. Take a look.
Me and the group of elected leaders and community leaders behind me, we are in the central city of Portland, Oregon, and it is a beautiful day, and we are very happy to be here speaking with you today. In my conversations directly with President Trump and Secretary Noem, I have been abundantly clear with them that Portland and the state of Oregon believe in the rule of law, and we can manage our own local public safety needs.
Really?
There is no insurrection. There is no threat to national security.
Really?
And there is no need for military troops in our major city. Military service members should be dedicated to real emergencies. The members of the Oregon National Guard, their mission is to stand up and protect Oregonians, and they will do that every day, but they are not needed in the city. They are not needed here.
Now, here's the deal, Tina Kotek, Governor. Here's the deal, Governor. It actually, at this point, doesn't matter whether or not you give Trump permission. He doesn't need your permission because you have a domestic terror problem in your state and you have done nothing about it. Domestic terrorists are attacking federal facilities and federal employees, ICE agents, just about every damn day under your watch, and you have done nothing about it. In fact, you've got a half a decade long history of covering up for it and saying, it's not a big deal. Guess what? You have been, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just a guy. I'm just a random guy. My opinion is that Tina Kotek, you have been aiding and abetting not just illegal alien invaders in violation of federal immigration law. That's nothing compared to what you're involved with now. Tina Kotek, you have been aiding and abetting domestic terrorists. That's my opinion. And it would seem as if President Trump agrees with my opinion because now he's going in. What else do we have here today? Folks, a little bit of a funny story that happened literally this morning. I want to share this with you. Who here knows the rapper? His name is Ice Cube. He's been around. He's been rapping for, I don't know, probably 30 years. He used to be, I think, friends with Tupac and Snoop Dogg. His name is Ice Cube. Ice Cube is on tour right now, going around the country doing concerts. He's up on stage rapping. His tour van, he was in Portland, Oregon this morning, scheduled to play in Portland. His van, his travel van, says Ice Cube. These freaks in downtown Portland, these Antifa freaks, they saw the word ice. They didn't see the word cube. It said Ice Cube, and they firebombed his van. I kid you not. They are that stupid. This is the van of Ice Cube, and they firebombed it earlier this morning because they thought Ice Cube, this is on Broadway in downtown Portland, they thought he was a member of ICE. They thought this was an ICE detainment van. No, this is Ice Cube's van. And so, real quick contrast with what Tina Kotek said just 60 seconds ago. It's no big deal. We don't have a problem. We can handle our own security, blah, 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 blah. Really? Listen, hey, my homeboy Ice Cube is having his van blown up, okay? Spare me. We hear from Andy No. He chimed in on this. Andy No is another Portland native, and he has dedicated his entire career to shining a spotlight on the evil, on the domestic terror organization, otherwise known as Antifa. Take a look at this. He's had a lot of run-ins with these guys on the streets of Portland. He adds a little bit of context here.
Let me show people some video of you right in the middle of Antifa. This is not First Amendment rights. They are attacking you. They end up coming in here in a moment and they'll start punching you. And Andy, no, as we watch this video, Democrats want to tell us Antifa doesn't exist. They just punched you in the face here.
That's him. Tina Kotek says this is not a problem. Tina Kotek says nothing wrong with this. No problem at all.
Yeah, not only did they punch me on the face and head, they were wearing gloves that were reinforced with fiberglass so that my brain bled and I was hospitalized and nearly died. So I would like to tell that story to the Democrats. I would like to tell them about the stories of people who have been killed by Antifa, like Aaron Danielson in Portland, Oregon in 2020, who was a Trump supporter who was assassinated by an Antifa gunman.
If you haven't heard about that story, what he just referenced, this is on footage, on video. I'm not going to play this for you because it is gruesome. Imagine a white man wearing a red MAGA hat, standing on the side of the road in downtown Portland, doing nothing, minding his own business. Antifa domestic terrorist walks up behind him, totally unprovoked, completely unprovoked, puts a gun to his head, pulls the trigger, execution style. Didn't even talk to him. They didn't even have an altercation. Just walked up behind him, put a gun to the back of his head, and killed him in broad daylight on the streets. And the reason why is because he was wearing a Trump hat. This happened 5 years ago in 2020. So you want to talk about, once again, folks, you want to talk about domestic terrorism. That's what that looks like. It's on the streets of Portland.
Who left behind a manifesto and made references to Antifa, very similar to Antifa references, by the way, on the rifle cartridges that were found near the Charlie Kirk assassination site.
Keep in mind, the Charlie Kirk assassin, on almost all of his unspent rifle casings, bullet casings, there was anti-fascist rhetoric. Ciao bella, 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 ciao. This is a 1930s Italian anti-fascist song. What else did it say? It said, catch this, fascist. Obviously, the implication here is that Charlie Kirk was a fascist and I'm going to kill him. And then also, just a couple days ago at this Dallas, Texas ICE facility shooting, that shooter, he had engraved on his shell casing, it said against ICE, or it said anti-ICE is what it said, in addition to some other stuff, as it would turn out. So yeah, listen, folks, there is a problem. As if there was any debate over whether or not Antifa is a domestic terror organization. They are very clearly and obviously. Pam Bondi, Attorney General, has a statement about that.
We're witnessing a new era of political violence. Assassins have tried to murder President Trump twice and tried to kill Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh. In Minnesota, legislators and even children attending Mass were gunned down in cold blood in 2 separate incidents. And an assassin targeted and murdered our friend Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
A sniper shot 3 people at a Texas ICE facility, and now more than 200 violent rioters were at a Chicago ICE facility chanting, "Arrest ICE, shoot ICE." At least one had a gun. We've seen this before. We saw it in Portland and with the LA riots. These are not peaceful protests. These are coordinated attacks by radical extremists, and they end now. Anyone who threatens or assaults our federal officers will be arrested and charged federally, not in some liberal state court. Same goes for anyone who's funding and aiding these extremists. You will be dismantled brick by brick. We are taking our country back. Make America safe again.
I've got one little minor issue with Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, she does a lot of talking, but not an equal amount of doing. I don't know if you've noticed that. So I hope, good Lord, Please let her actually follow through and start criminally punishing these people. One of the big issues we've had with Antifa and a lot of these far-left radical domestic terrorists is that they are finding refuge in these progressive left-wing blue states where at most they get a slap on the wrist. Slap on the wrist. They're in and out of prison in less than a day. They're back on the streets. They keep on going. Well, that's not going to happen if we start filing federal charges, federal domestic terror charges. A little bit of different dynamic here. Real quick, I've got a lot more to show you guys today, but first I want to take a look at this super chat. This is Mo Danger. He says, Matt Morris TV, Morris Force merch. Maybe I can put something together. I don't know. Maybe. Guys, we haven't even gotten to the big bombshell of today's broadcast, so stand by here for a minute. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Nathaniel says, I live in Portland Burbs. Since 2015, we saw downtown Portland get smashed and burned. Dozens of businesses boarded up and now gone. COVID and Antifa. I know, it hit at the same time. I was living in the Portland Burbs when that happened also. I was there. A lot of my favorite places in downtown went out of business. I know, I'm with you, brother. Thank you. This is from Mike. He says, I prefer fascism, purposely misspelled, over whatever world these anarchists want. Well, I'll tell you what, these Antifa people, if they got their way, I have a feeling the country would not be looking so hot. Now, thank you, folks, for the super chats. We have one more in the Rumble chat. Real quick, this is from Citizen. He says, Matt, have you considered streaming with other people like The Quartering? I'd love to see some collaboration with similar streamers. Maybe collaboration someday. I am kind of a solo show type of guy, but maybe someday. Maybe I work my way into that. Thank you. That's a good recommendation. I appreciate that. Thank you. Folks, this is what is currently going on outside of the ICE facility. A different ICE facility here. I kid you not. Take a look at this. These people have lost their mind. They are unhinged. They are casting a spell on the ICE agents, some type of indigenous, native, primal, demonically inspired spell to defeat the evil ICE agents and to tear down the ICE facility. I kid you not. This happened earlier today. So we are dealing with some very powerful forces, obviously, very clearly. But folks, as it would seem, let's get back to Portland here. The cavalry has arrived in Portland, as it would seem. A couple hours ago, we had this footage pop up. It's going viral on the internet right now. Take a look at this. This is downtown Portland. It seems as if we are having DHS, Department of Homeland Security, armored vehicles rolling into the streets of Portland. They've been funneling in all day, getting ready for something. For what? I'll tell you here in a minute. Take a look at this first, though.
Yep.
There it is. That is a Department of Homeland Security armored vehicle. So Trump, listen, Trump is, he's flooding the city. They're getting ready for something. For what? I'll tell you right now. Back to Andy No. He has a bombshell report coming out about 2 hours ago. A direct call to action has been planned for September 28th. That is tomorrow, at the Portland ICE facility, after Trump issued a statement that he plans to send in troops to protect the federal property. Antifa and the communists, all of these people are domestic terrorists, have said that they refuse to back down and they plan to escalate their rioting. They have called for militant reinforcements from Seattle and Los Angeles. This is the flyer that they've sent out. They've got this circulating through all of the Antifa communities here. Feds out of Portland, ICE out of Portland. An increased amount of militarized federal agents have descended on Portland. Tell Trump we want them gone. Portland contra las deportaciones. Speak English. They're calling for a rally at the ICE facility, 4310 South Macadam Avenue, Sunday, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Western, presumably, which is actually just about right now. It's about right now. 30 minutes ago tomorrow. So, folks, listen, I think today is going to be kind of a quiet day on the streets today. Everybody's kind of preparing. The federal forces are funneling into the city. You know, in a way, I can't help but make a Lord of the Rings analogy. You know, it's like this federal facility, federal ICE facility in downtown Portland. This is Minas Tirith. And soon, the forces of chaos, the forces of evil, the forces of darkness, who seek to destroy humanity, will come crashing down on this facility, and only the good graces of God will see us through this. But tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. Western, 7 p.m. Western is when this is going down. Now, we have a Fox News report giving some extra information here. What can we expect throughout the rest of the night tonight and leading into tomorrow's mayhem? Take a look at this. By the way, Jacob P., massive super chat. He says, congrats on the channel growth. I appreciate that. Really, it's not me, it's you guys. You guys are responsible for the channel growth, not me. So thank you, folks. I appreciate that. Thank you. For real. Thank you. Take a look at this. What can we expect the rest of the day today and also leading into tomorrow? Take a look.
Breaking news just moments ago. President Trump sending troops to Portland. He made the announcement on Truth Social, and it read in part at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. I am directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland.
Now, folks, we heard earlier today that Oregon Governor Tina Kotek actually had a private phone call with Kristi Noem and Donald Trump. Can you imagine Donald Trump on the phone with Tina Kotek? Man, how much money would I pay to listen to that phone call? Could you imagine? Man, to be a fly on the wall listening in on that conversation.
Now, I remember this well. I remember 2020. There's a lot of violence in Portland. There was a courthouse that folks tried to set on fire, and President Trump deployed federal law enforcement there. I was his press secretary at the time. Here's what I said.
2020 was nuts.
By any objective standard, the violence, chaos, and anarchy in Portland is unacceptable.
Yep.
Yet Democrats continue to put politics above peace while this president seeks to restore law and order.
Now, someone who was there with me in the White House at that time was Katie Miller. She's the host of the Katie Miller podcast. She has a long track record.
Incidentally, this is Stephen Miller's wife. Small world. Take a look.
In the Trump administration. Katie, you and I were there in the summer of 2020. We remember how dangerous Portland got.
Yep.
And they still have crime problems today. What do you make of the president's action?
You know, the greatest difference between President Trump's first term and a second term is that we're not waiting for there to be set fires in Portland. As President Trump said in 2020, it's an anarchist jurisdiction. So what do you do with an anarchist jurisdiction? You deploy as many troops as possible. You gain control quickly, and you say, we are coming for you, and we will not allow the riots in the street like we did in the summer of 2020. This is President Trump's country, and he has promised to make sure that every American feels safe, and that includes our brave law enforcement, who's been the subject to too many violent attacks, whether that be what happened this week or weeks before that. It is not acceptable to attack law enforcement who are just carrying out the duty that Congress has charged them with.
Little reminder, hey, Antifa freaks, state and city legislators in Portland and Oregon, listen, it is actually a federal crime to aid and abet illegal aliens, to harbor them in direct defiance of federal immigration law that we all, the American people, democratically agreed upon and had a recent mandate regarding in the 2024 election. We said, listen, enough is enough. We are done with this. Still, they keep it up. Still, they're aiding and abetting these people. And then beyond that, now they're just aiding and abetting literal domestic terrorists, these Antifa far left freaks. Yeah, it is actually a federal crime to assault a federal immigration officer. Yeah, it is actually a federal crime to try to blow up a federal immigration facility. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. The days of acting in direct defiance of this country and the democratic will of the people of this country have come to an end. These freaks need to be held accountable.
And President Trump has said no more. And by doing this action today, he's not waiting for it to get worse. He is going to protect our brave men and women who serve our country.
Katie, I'm really glad that you made that the focus, the brave men and women, because at that time in Portland back in 2020, I remember vividly when protesters tried to light a courthouse on fire, and there was federal law enforcement in and around this. And President Trump does have the authority to deploy National Guard to federal property to protect federal assets. And Katie, I just saw yesterday ICE agents who were followed, people giving out their address, the attacks on ICE facilities. You worked at DHS. Tell us what you know about.
You know why all these ICE agents need to wear masks? It's because there are smartphone apps and websites and Facebook groups and Reddit, subreddits, forums, online forums dedicated to identifying ICE agents and their family members and anybody that they are related to, their church group, whatever, to try to harass them, destroy their life, get them fired, get them kicked out of here and kicked out of there, and even, God forbid, have them killed. There is an entire far-left radical, it's called doxing, where you release the personal information of somebody that you don't like. It's called doxing. There's an entire radical far-left doxing apparatus aimed at destroying the lives of these ICE agents. Yeah, so no wonder they want to wear masks. Hello?
ICE agents, DHS officials, these folks who put it all on the line and incur what you're looking at, this kind of violence.
Gavin Newsom is the first one who's demonized our great ICE law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every single day to do the job that, again, Congress has charged them to do. And by President Trump taking this action today and saying we are not going to wait for it to be worse. And what happened in 2020 is, right, law enforcement served as crowd control measures. Yes, they made over 1,000 arrests back in 2020. But by doing this action today, he's saying that we're not going to wait. We're going to come quickly and come hard. And by doing that, you're protecting the ICE law enforcement in the field, because if you are greenlighting even a little bit of an ounce of attack against them, you don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, maybe we do, and we saw that what happened with our friend Charlie Kirk. But when you take quick and swift action, you are going to stand up for all men and women who today are on the streets arresting illegal aliens and ensuring their deportation, which is exactly what President Trump said he was going to do, is remove every illegal alien present in this country. And who's doing that? That is ICE. And we must all stand together with the people who are serving our great country.
You know what I love? She just said, by the way, this is the wife of Stephen Miller, so maybe it's kind of rubbed off on her a little bit. She didn't say we're only going to remove the violent illegal aliens or the criminal illegal aliens. What did she say? What did she just say, Mrs. Miller? She said, every single one. Little reminder here, folks, every single one. Not just the gangbangers, not just the drug dealers, not just the violent criminal assaulters. No. Every single one. All of them are here illegally. All of them are categorically illegal. They are categorically criminals by nature of being in the country illegally and violating our federal immigration law. All of them need to go. Doesn't matter how old, how young, how long they've been there, doesn't matter. All of them have to go.
Katie, I only have a few moments here, but I love listening to the Katie Miller podcast because I know you as a friend, and it's really cool because I feel like I'm getting to know the new Trump administration as a friend. I saw your conversation with J.D. Vance. You asked some really fun questions. What is the most exciting thing you've learned about a Trump administration official?
The greatest thing I really learned is how friendly they are with one another, which is such a change from the first administration, is that this time President Trump has truly picked a cabinet who enjoys hanging out with each other, whether that be on air.
Well, you know, I think it's fair to say that the Trump administration is getting more done than they did the first time. They've been able to come over some of these roadblocks they had to deal with last time. Now, folks, like I said, I want to double back to this. Folks, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Western, 7 p.m. Eastern, it is going to get crazy. We're going to be here live on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Matt Morris TV, on Kick. We're going to be live everywhere covering this. And I think tomorrow is going to be a crazy day, so come back and tune in for that. Now, little reminder of what happened last time President Trump sent in federal enforcers into downtown Portland. This is what happened. This is maybe what we can expect to see tomorrow. Take a look. This is 2020. They arrested over 1,000 Antifa members. Over 1,000. So, folks, we already saw this happen a couple years ago in 2020 during the second half of Trump's first term. Now, you know, I think if you thought this was crazy, and this is just one little, 31-second snippet, if you thought that's crazy, Antifa, the title of today's broadcast, Antifa has called in reinforcements. They're calling in fellow Antifa radicals, terrorists, from Los Angeles, from San Francisco, from Seattle, from Tacoma, from all over the country, all over the country. And right now they're flooding in. They are mobilizing, folks. Tomorrow they're making their grand stand. They're preparing for war. There's no other way to put it. Trump has declared war on Antifa, and Antifa has said, you know what? All right, war it is. That's what's going to be happening tomorrow. So, folks, we're going to be here for that. But that is going to be a wrap for today's broadcast. Folks, we have 30,000 people here tuning in live between all of the locations: Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble, Matt Morris TV. Everybody, thank you for being here today. Make sure to please subscribe and drop a follow. I really do appreciate everything, folks. It's just astounding to me. Hopefully this situation is able to de-escalate peacefully and civilly. I hope. I'm going to pray about it tonight. I am. I hope everybody does. We're going to be back tomorrow, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in today. It means a lot. We've got the #1 community. Also, by the way, I checked the numbers. We have the #1 fastest growing right-wing community in the country. Here, that's us. That's you. So thank you, folks. I appreciate that. #1, literally. So, folks, we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. God bless. Have a great Saturday night. Have a great Sunday morning. Tomorrow, we're back, and we're going to be covering all of this. Thank you, everybody. That's going to be a wrap for today.